Hey guys, and welcome as we're continuing on with the study on the epistles of John. Now we've already finished First John, and today is Second John, but it's only one chapter long. And tomorrow is Third John. It also is one chapter long. So tomorrow is our last day. But as we dive into this, understand that John is continuing the same message, even from the gospel all the way through First John, Second John, Third John. He starts out kind of a little odd, and some people don't really know how to take it. He says, "The elder to the elect lady and her children, whom I love in truth, and not only I, but also those whom know the truth." And so some people go, first of all, who's the elder? Well, that's who John is. John's starting to speak a little bit in code. At this point, when this is written, this is probably around 90, the year 90. And John is the last of all the apostles still alive. The rest of them had been martyred for their faith. And it's not clear whether he has already been captured when he wrote this or he knows he's about to be captured. But regardless, he's writing in code. So the lady, it wouldn't be like some woman that he knows. Actually, the lady would be the church. You see, the first century church would refer to the church often as the lady and referred to as the bride of Christ. And so he's writing a little bit in code here, but that's in the protection of the people, all the people involved. And so he's writing and he's opening up the same thing he keeps bringing to our attention as he says in verse 6, he says, "And now I ask you, dear lady, not as though I were writing a new commandment." He's like, this is something I've been telling you all along. From the Gospel of John 13:34 to 1 John, all of this is the same thing, not anything new, but one that has been since the beginning. He's saying that we love one another. And this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. And so he's saying that we as believers have got to be seen by the world loving one another, and that we've got to make our love true for one another. How are you loving others at this time? During this time of crisis, how are you loving others? This is something that John is trying to make and bring into our hearts over and over again. Now, he takes a little different turn in verse 7. He says, "For many deceivers have gone out into the world, those who do not confess the coming of Jesus in the flesh." Now let me explain to you what's happening there is that there's a group who they could not denounce that Jesus died on the cross. Thousands of people saw it, and they're all still alive. A lot of those people are still alive when this is written. And hundreds of people saw Jesus after he had risen. So there's no denying that Jesus rose from the dead. But a group of people are coming out saying, no, his spirit raised. And so what everybody saw was his spirit instead of the flesh. But John's like, no, that's not true. God raised from the dead, raised him, his body, raised him up from the dead. You see, if there is no resurrection of the dead, then there is no defeating of death. You see, God defeated death. And if he hasn't defeated death, you and I don't have eternal life. God has defeated death once and for all to give you and I eternal life. You go, well, all of this is actually just in this one little section of 2 John. It is. So make sure you read it a couple of times, because there's a lot more in there I can't even give you during this time, because, hey, we are limited on time. But tomorrow we will wrap up 3 John, and that'll be the end. But I've enjoyed this time with you, and I will see you again tomorrow for 3 John.